been okay to watch your streams for a couple months because I have been so overwhelmed with shit, but I'm glad I'm back home with chat. Happy 6 months xQc.
Look at that.
You're looking cute today. Let's stay 3.
That's okay, it's okay.
No fucking shark did.
Suddenly, silence. Because everyone on the boat realizes this is something special.
Is this a positive
CSGO
idea?
plays of 2019 Pogoon.
It's the first time this species has ever been filmed.
Wait, really?
I've landed bigger river monsters, but none more rare.
This is a glyphis river shark, very rare species. We've got a real positive idea on this. The shape of the notch just in front of the tail, and also the anal fin. First one caught on camera.
They're gonna release it, right?
Let's get it back now.
You can count the people who have landed one of these on the fingers of one hand. But we need to work fast. This shark is so rare, we're only permitted to handle it for 60 seconds. So is it a killer? It's a powerful predator with super senses and all the right weaponry. But we've only just learned this shark even exists.
Chat, does it hurt them when you put the tag on it like that did?
And as yet, we don't know enough about its behavior or how
YouTube.
large it grows.
Watch a
to make
petalator
that call.
xQc.
Probably a little bit, right?
Wait! I need the gloves.
Until this fish is analysed by Dimitri, I've no idea how radioactive it is.
Wait, radioactive?
What risk it poses to me.
So this is it. This is the Somme. Long, dark, tapering body shape, the wide head, slimy skin, tentacles, teeth a bit like a worn-down brush.
Fish molly carrot.
Absolutely
Oh.
positive ID.
I'm finally holding the biological black box I've been searching for. I may have caught bigger, but never a fish as extraordinary or significant as this. Dimitri's research will later reveal that far from being the mutant giant of science fiction, this Chernobyl catfish is under half the normal size for its
Put
age.
him back.
Its stunted
Humans weird
flesh
chap.
harboring 16 times the usual level of radiation.
Jesus, didn't.
That is.
That's a very big skate, isn't it?
That is a Norwegian skate.
It's a Norwegian skate.
This bizarre creature of the fjord floor was first described here in Trondheim. It's an extremely rare sight at the surface. The fantastical imagination of the Nordic map makers now seems quite tame compared with the reality of what's
Wait,
going
what even
on.
is that?
Hey
It's a very impressive looking
guys.
animal, very strange looking animal, but very rare as well. Apparently Frederick's saying only 4 of these caught on rod and line before.
Chat, isn't that how
So
the fuck?
remember, we've got to take a tissue
Hey!
sample. These things don't come to the light very often.
Chat, isn't that how the crocodile guy died?
Frederick works with a scientist at Tromsø University who collects all the data from his catches of sharks.
Okay,
and
yo, chill
snakes.
out. These samples, man.
It's the right colour for the fish that I
Pepe
want.
clap.
The skin underneath certainly has got that rough feel, but it's completely the wrong shape. Skates are flattened sharks, and this is a very strange looking
Hi.
skate, but it's still not the fish I'm looking for.
I hate this sea, dude.
This fish was born in
It's
darkness
scary.
and may never have seen daylight before.
Those eyes are very, very luminous. There can't be a lot of light down where this thing lives, but this thing presumably manages to see something.
Chat,
We
what
don't
is
want
that
to
around the eyes, didn't it?
overexpress this rare visitor to our world. We have to tag it and measure it
It's
as
been
quickly
7
as
months.
possible.
Can I get a welcome to the
125
jungle?
across.
4
xQc.
foot across by nearly 6 foot nose to tail. Sharks and skates are among the few fish that can survive being brought up from such depths. They haven't evolved the gas-filled swim bladders of other fish that can rupture on the way up.
It's fucking dead, dude.
That thing is a bit
They
like
fucking
an
killed
alien,
it.
a real weird looking thing, living in a weird environment.
Some people spend their lives waiting for such a chance encounter with a monster, both here and at Loch Ness.
The big Greenland shark still eludes me. That thing is actually rarer. Where's the shark?
I have caught a Hanzaki, better known as the giant Japanese salamander, one of the largest salamanders in the world, and the creature that I believe is behind the Kappa legend.
The Kappa legend.
They get bigger than this, but wow, this creature is aggressive, even though we mean it no harm.
Chat,
The
we're
good
gonna,
thing is that these guys,
we're gonna
unlike
start doing
fish,
daily
are
Kappa
just
checks,
as
so we can farm
as
gold.
they are in the water. Pretty soon, he calms down.
That is a Hanzaki noodled. And I'm very pleased that even with my gloves on, my hands stayed away from that mouth. He wasn't too amused by the fact that he was just pulled out of his hole like that.
Oh, that's
But this-
huge, dude.
I think is the creature I've been after. Looks a bit like a fish, but it's got hands. And that's exactly what this has got.
Chat, I realize that we have a decent portion of
Mr.
Twitch
Toshimoto is
chatters
monitoring the
overall,
health
and
of the
chat.
Hanzaki population
I'm sure
along
once
this
every 30
river.
days, if we do Kappa checks, we should
nearly 10
statistically get
Measuring,
one.
weighing, and micro-tagging every one of his catches,
Counting all the digits, all normal.
so that when he recaptures them, he can build up a clear picture of how this incredibly rare animal is faring in the wild.
Best part of a yard long.
And now we have collected a new one for his study.
This is an animal that hasn't been caught
Can we
before. It
get
doesn't
a
have a chip in it. So that's a really good capture. Normally I wouldn't be allowed to touch this, but the fact that I'm acting as Mr. Toshimoto's assistant means that I'm able to work with this animal.
There are only a few pockets of these endangered giant
Dab, dab,
salamanders
dab,
left in the
dab, dab,
wild,
dab, dab,
these
dab,
creatures
dab,
that
dab,
haven't
if you
changed
think
since
I'm
the age of the
cute.
dinosaurs.
Oh, thanks,
Their
Chat
survival is an
xQc.
important part of Japan's natural heritage. And when I try
look
to
at it.
release it,
Next.
this national treasure still makes one last attempt to bite me,
Yeah, it's like
before
this shit,
disappearing,
alright.
unfazed by his capture.